Ukraine's military has activated air defence units in the capital to repel attacks by Russia. Kyiv says they were engaged early on Monday morning. Witnesses reported blasts on the outskirts of the city. A Russian airstrike has killed one person in the village in the Sumy region. Now, it destroyed a home on Sunday, killing a 33-year-old man. 3 others were injured. Now, the mayor says several Russian bombs have struck the village in recent days. Well, we have 2 correspondents following those developments in the conflict. We'll be with Dorsa Jabari in Moscow shortly. But first, let's cross over to Alex Katopoulos, who's in the Ukrainian capital, Kyiv, with a little bit more. Zelenskyy took to the airwaves to explain the reason for the Ukrainian incursion into Russia. What has he been saying?
Yes, President Zelenskyy spoke last night. He speaks every night. But last night he gave an indication of what really the incursion into Russia is all about. So firstly, he talked about degrading Russia's war-making ability, basically denying Russia the ability to be able to make war on Ukraine. What does that mean? It means local tactical successes, the destruction of the bridges, the pushing back of Russian forces, and showing them that they can be defeated on their own soil. But it also means longer-range attacks. Things like attacking logistical bases, air bases, railheads, ammunition dumps, fuel depots, all the things that Russia needs to be able to move forces, move them forwards to attack Ukrainian units in Russia. But he also said, and this gives as a window into Ukrainian thinking, is that he talked about a buffer zone. Ukraine cannot advance infinitely and forever into Russia. It's impossible. Everyone else has tried it. It's always ended in disaster. So at some stage, they will pull back. It is likely now that they will pull back to a buffer zone within Russia itself, but it allows enough troops to be able to protect this buffer zone while not expending endless troops, endless material, trying to move forward, trying to protect this growing area that Ukraine keeps taking as well, which will just end up draining the Ukrainian military rather than achieving anything positive. So these are the 2 elements now that are you can quite clearly see and probably make the most sense for Ukraine's military at this time.
Alex Katopoulos there in Kyiv for us. Thank you. Let's cross over to the Russian capital now, where Dorsa Jabari is standing by for us. Obviously, the Russians watching what's going on and also reporting to their own public as to what they think is happening. What are they saying right now?
Well, we've been hearing from Russian military bloggers who are on the ground in the Kursk region. The information we're getting is mainly coming from them. And according to them, the 3rd bridge over the Seym River in the Kursk region has been destroyed by Ukrainian forces. Since Thursday, the Ukrainian offensive has been focusing on destroying these bridges over this main artery way that links parts of the Kursk region to the border region, which means the Russian forces now have to rely on pontoon bridges to get their supplies across, as well as to evacuate the remaining civilians in those areas that are caught in between the fighting. Now, from the Russian Defense Ministry, we're hearing very little information about what territories they've been able to recapture from the Ukrainians. What they're giving us updates about is the ongoing war in Ukraine in the Donbass region and the territories that they're advancing in that area. What is clear is that the situation is very tense. According to the local governor of Kursk region, just another 1,700 people were evacuated over the past 24 hours, bringing it to around a total of 130,000 civilians so far evacuated since August 6, when Ukraine began this incursion onto Russian territory. This is the first time, of course, that Russia has seen foreign troops on its soil in over 80 years. So it's quite significant. And given all that this is happening, we've seen the Russian President Vladimir Putin on a visit to Azerbaijan. He's wrapping up a 2-day visit there. And during his visit, we heard from a number of officials traveling with him, including the Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, who blamed the incursion on the United States, saying that Kyiv would not have made this move without prior approval of the United States. So it gives you an idea of the sentiments that is going on and around the Kremlin officials. Certainly very important times here, but the official lines are coming from the Defense Ministry is very limited about the information on the ground in terms of the Russian operation in the Kursk region.
Dorsa Jabari there for us in Moscow. Thank you.
Make sure to subscribe to our channel to get the latest news from Al Jazeera.